Okay, so next up is Leo Schmidt. I went to school with Schmidt. I'm not sure if that's how you say your last name, but that's how he said his last name. Long time ago. It was in high school. But Leo, you've got some architectural visualization, you've got some environment art, personal works, school projects. So I'm just going to click all on this. So right off the bat, we've got a freelance 3D artist. Uh, you're in Switzerland. That's right. So when I look at this portfolio, I'm not actually sure what you want to do. Like, do you want to be an environment artist, a props artist, hard surface artist? Are you starting to look into materials? But yeah, let's see how old some of this is. Excuse me. Ugh. Yawnage incoming. Environment mostly. Okay. So this one's 2 years old. I don't think we'll feedback on this at all. Just kind of looking at it. You're already starting to tell stories in this, so that's really cool. Yeah, Casey, I am a little sleepy, man. I had a nap right before the stream. Again, it was nice. It was very nice. Good versus evil. Let's see this one. So this one's 10 months ago. Okay, so it went from 2 years to 10 months ago. I'm not sure. I'm gonna just click through these real quick. 17 days ago. 3 months ago. Okay, so these are not in the same order. Just so we're aware of it, right? Would be really cool if I could press a button and see it in time order if I wanted to. Like there's user order and then a button to see it in time order. That'd be sick. Because I appreciate being able to reorder these. But if we look at this, it looks like 10 months ago, like you have a pretty good understanding of like how you want to model and build your pieces. I think what's breaking down right now is your materials. Like, because like when I zoom in on that looks pretty good. I don't know what the wireframe on it is. Oh yeah, it's pretty high. Um, this could probably be a quarter of what it is, and you would still get the same look if you baked that information down. Which I'm assuming you've baked that down. We go normals. Oh no, that looks like it's modeled. Definitely. There's some baking going on there. You're gonna want to figure out how to solve these types of shenanigans, and that's just a flipped normal on the mirror there. Hero prop. Um, but yeah, not under. I don't understand this type of material. I want to see the wireframe again. Yeah, so there is normal information in there. It's really dense. When I don't think it doesn't need to be in order to pull off the same look. So try experimenting with removing enough geometry while keeping the silhouette or overall shape of things, right? Like the eyes for the skull, for example. You want that depth in the eyes, right? That can probably be like a five-sided face that's in there being pushed in to match the eye. And then around the outside edge of this, maybe like 10 sides or 10 edges. And then, yeah, I think it really comes down to your materials and how you're using your roughness or your gloss. Because, like, that's super shiny, right? And really kind of understanding what's happening in the roughness or the gloss map to really describe the surfaces is key when it comes to creating content like this or creating content in general. Let's keep moving here. Because some of this stuff, like this farmhouse, so you're following a tutorial. Usually, I would say in portfolios, you don't want to have tutorial content, just because like it's more of you learning. Maybe you would want to like you have the pro membership, so you could totally make a blog on that type of stuff. And then the thing that you'd want to do to benefit from those tutorials and like how to guides and whatnot is to build your own thing using what you'd learned. Right. So here's creating 3D environments. You're very happy with the results. I mean, it looks pretty cool. When I see the water here, I'm like, okay, is there a bridge here? Is this a bridge? So like adding the storytelling elements to show that there's a bridge there would be really good. Um, the trees don't look all that bad either. This branch looks like it maybe is getting a little old. I'd probably just snap that off. Um, yeah, and then it's again, I think it's more about the materials and like how they read to the lighting and how they're modeled. Like this silhouette change here on the roof edge is very nice because it implies more information than there actually is. Yeah, exactly. Commander is like find it helpful to follow a tutorial for a thing and then try something similar on your own. So how old is this one? So this one's 8 months ago. This is a high poly model. Normally, I would say combining all of these into a single post probably makes more sense. This one's a look dev one, so maybe that could be separate. But these two for sure should be in the same bucket. Man, I love this shader that you're using here. This is a blender shader. Some really nice attention to detail. The weighting on the shapes and the shape language is really good. Man, this is crazy. Yeah, this looks great. There are some smoothing issues here. I think you might be able to clean those up with a weighted normals modifier. It might clear those up for you. But if we keep scrolling through here, this is a lot of work, dude. Look at that welding in there too. Are you using the weld plugin where you select loops and then you just tell it and it gives you a weld pattern? There's some more down there. Super nice. You find it hard to learn materials, Shokri. Man, materials are once you understand how to look at it and break it down, then you're good. This is pure Blender, and those weld lines look like Blender to me as well. There are some weld lines that I don't quite understand how like why they would be there. Were you using the Eisen? Were you using the weld plugin? Weld 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 weld. Oh, nice. This is awesome. Look at that reference. That reference board's serious. This is how you make something look pretty accurate. Is you freaking get all of it. You have every piece possible. That's really impressive. So modeling wise, this looks pretty good. I would say it's very busy, right? Maybe lowering the depth on the details in the tire would make it easier to like be an area of rest since there's so much information going on. But I mean, the reality is these things are just very busy in general, right? So wherever you can get a big flat area, it's nice that you're not trying to detail it up and you're just following the reference in that sense. Yeah, how much time was put into this, Eisen? It's pretty intense. Dude, look at that. Look at that. So your understanding of materials is quite strong in this. The front light is probably the thing that sticks out to me the most. Oh my gosh, there's a marmoset viewer for this. Get out of here. Okay, so those are modeled. That's pretty intense. Yeah, I think what you'd want to do is, I mean, I bet this could render really well in Sketchfab because they've got some refracting looking glass now. And this is how we lost Jeremy for the rest of the stream. I don't know what you're talking about, man. But yeah, attention to detail is pretty good. I wouldn't this detail, depending on what platform it would be for, like what type of game it would be, I wouldn't necessarily mirror this and just allow it to be its own kind of surface for character reasons. I think the only thing that's kind of throwing this off is the environment that's around it that's kind of being used to reflect on the surfaces is really simple, so you get kind of a sterile view of this, right? I would recommend trying to bring this into Sketchfab. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, the weld lines aren't always in spots that you would expect, and they're not being used in areas where it would allow you to hide some seam issues like this. There's also a few bits that are floating where like maybe you would expect a cut in or an inset. There's not enough geo here, and then you want to make sure that when you have these ring loop pieces that they all kind of match up. You could totally, with all the geometry you're spending here, you can definitely afford to add an extra. You can double this to get that roundness there. If we go and look at the gloss here. Yeah, so what I'm seeing here is there's not a lot of there is separation, but you don't have anything that's going pretty extreme. To show the full range, like this area here is pretty dark, right? So that's going to be, if this is gloss, that's going to be pretty diffuse, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, and honestly, that material feels pretty accurate, right? So it's like looking at that material and then looking at this one up here, these pieces here, like they're not really, material wise, they're not really showing the age that you would expect, but the way that the gloss is being affected, or that the surface is being affected by lighting based on that gloss value. You like these reflectors? Yeah, they just need, reflectors are weird to do in 3D. Use that for the headlight as well. I mean, the reflectors look pretty good. And for the headlight, I would literally put a bulb inside of there and then just make the glass shader and then put the normal on it. That gives you the ripple effect. And yeah, an AO dirt pass would do wonders for this. Like, we are getting some dirt in here, but you can see the resolution's just quite low. And there's a little bit of dirt here as well. It just needs a full, like, a wear and tear pass. Doesn't have to be crazy, just there. And an ambient occlusion pass on this baked into the materials themselves would give you all of that inner depth and give you some area of rest, strangely enough. That's why I'm saying, dude, if you put this in Sketchfab, Sketchfab's got some pretty good ambient occlusion, screen space ambient occlusion. But really nice. Really, really nice. I think you were, where is it at here? You've got this one as well, this look dev. Seeing this, it's like you see the depth in there, and the materials are popping a little better. That headlight though, that's bugging me. It needs that touch. It needs the quality that you put into the rest of this. Look at the gradient on this as well. What is that link, Casey? Headlights. Oh, nice. Okay, I'll post that in the chat for Eisen. So Eisen's 22. with a passion for history and video games, decided to create a historical reconstruction project about a city in Geneva set in 1602. Started game art through SAE Institute, but didn't finish bachelor as I found it too constraining with no encouragement for autonomy and self-teaching. There's a balance there. There's a talk that Polygon and Chat actually did for DintCon that talks about understanding how you learn, because every person learns a little differently. People have to find their own path, you know, in the way that they consume knowledge. Polygon, if you find that link to that video, let me know. Drop it in chat here, and I can post it to him as well. Man, it's a great model, though. You can tell that you were really passionate about it, and it makes me wonder if your passion is in hard surface. Yeah, that look dev set is really intriguing. Okay, so the next thing, Ghost, what's up, man? So the next thing is like when you look at, oh, thanks, Reddit. When we're looking at photogrammetry, I find it difficult to critique these other than when I see like blatant issues, right? Oh, there's Polygon with the message. Thanks, man. I'll post that to Eisen as well. So when you look at this, to me, I'm not really sure. It says fortification wall material. Is this lighter, or is it just because the lighting is making it lighter? We're not seeing like when you do photogrammetry. Yeah, that video is super informative, by the way. The one Polygon just linked. I'll put it in the video description as well. But when you scroll, you can't scroll down in this, right? And you want to see like how is this material built? Of course, it's photogrammetry, right? But like, what does the normal look like after you were done processing it? What is the what's the roughness look like on it? All that the height map, because when you do photogrammetry, it's only as strong as like the outputted maps give it, right? And like all the processing that takes place in order to create the photogrammetry end result is in those maps. So by showing just the material on a sphere, we're not getting enough info in order to make a judgment call on the quality of the material itself. My gut reaction, so I don't really know the scale of this either, but I feel like you can see the details on the bottom here are really sticking out. That might be pushing it a little too far. Oh, that's awesome to hear, Commander. So yeah, I can't feedback on this too much, really. When we look at, oh, whoops, that's Isaac. What I was like, what are we doing here? What's happening? My brain like split into two there for a second. So with this one, there's a little bit more things going on where I'm like, oh, okay, this is the same fortification wall. There's a seam right here. I was looking at this earlier just to kind of get a preview of what we were looking at today. And yeah, so there's a seam here. And then also I just don't really understand the material. Like there's some of I need it on a flat surface as well to really, and have an image of the context of it would be really good. So like not only you see the material on a sphere, you see the maps, you want to see like the context of where it was taken, what material you were replicating, and then all of the layers of that. But yeah. I mean, I think that's all I have to say on the material stuff. Some of your other stuff, like all of this here and this one, I would say isn't anywhere near what you're doing up here. And definitely the most impressive thing on here is the motorcycle. I think if you're wanting to get into like, I mean, you were in chat, right? Did you wanted to get into environment art? Is that what you said? Let me just double check. Almost. So this motorcycle almost took a year of modeling, but was still learning and at school at the same time. Okay. Yeah, you were using welder. All right, cool. Let's see here. Environment mostly. Okay, so if you want to be making environments, I would definitely start building out. Like, it's good to get a strong. So the bike was just a learning modeling concept. Man, I get that. It's a great way to challenge yourself and create these shapes and understand how to build. Um, but I think building an environment is key if you want to be an environment artist, right? Uh, Visme, how do you break down and understand it before jumping into creating it? You meant the materials. So you checked out RMS tutorials and a bunch of pictures, right? So when I look at this, what I'm expecting to see when I look at a scan material is like, I want to see it all. I want to fully understand what I'm looking at material wise. Yeah, Fast Track Tutorials has got some great stuff as well. Definitely. Deconstruct the elements. Like, I need to know what this is. And the reason for that is like, so that I understand the context of the material. Yes. Alex Beddoes has got a great guide on materials and deconstructing these materials. But what I'm saying is, you've got a sphere. I need to see it on a plane. I need to understand the context of it, the environment that I was taken from. Take a photo of the place you were at and the wall you were focusing on, so that I understand the elements that I'm seeing. That way I'm able to understand the material that I'm looking at better. And when I see the different maps, like the roughness and the normal and the gloss map and all that stuff, that's like, that's how I understand what these are. Oh, really, Kev? That's interesting. Hey, Grizzle, have a good one, man. But yeah, I think if you want to be an environment artist, breaking down a scene is key. And when I mean breaking down a scene, like, building an environment is basically just a collection of props that make sense together with lighting and composition and storytelling. So a scene maybe about the size of this scene here, I would expect maybe 15 unique assets. Maybe 15, maybe less than that. Because you're going to be reusing props a lot, right? That's the idea, is you reuse and you reuse. Um, and that should be enough to build the scene out. And I always suggest, when you're building a scene, that you start by blocking out every asset you want to make, and then use those. I can say that again, Sheriff. Oh man. After that, I would say you need to be taking what you're seeing with those props and actually placing them in Unreal, for example. Prop the scene, build the scene with no materials and just super, super simple blockouts of the assets you want. Once you have all of that in place, you'll see how many assets you actually need. If you need more, or if you actually need less, or if there's one that you actually don't need to build that would have taken a lot longer, to just like go for it. And then you just then build the scene. Yeah, think where you want to render out early too. You can find those camera angles. You can cut down on the amount of assets you're going to need to make as well. But I know you're in chat. Do you have any questions, Eisen? So you hate doing gray box. Maybe your idea of gray box is too simplified, Sandy. Because I'm saying, like, block out every piece as its own little thing, and then block out, like, prop the space with those. If it's not enough for you, you can put a roughness and an albedo color on those assets to give you a better sense of the space. Any resources on open world creation and world building? Ooh, I mean, those are big topics that I think you'll be looking into for a while. Open world creation is all dependent on where you're working and how they manage it. You yourself as an environment artist don't necessarily have to worry about that. It's the workflows that are developed at the studio you're at. Now, world building, that's like the DNA of how a place is real. Yeah, Polygon. That's a good one. Actually. Um where is that? Where is that post? I made a post called DNA. Let me find it here real quick. Yeah, so DNA is design narrative art, right? So if you think about it, you design everything, it's related to the narrative and it's related to the pieces around it, right? So you've got art, narrative, and design, or design, narrative, art, DNA, and it's how those all coalesce together. Like if this, if you have this scene, these trees will be shaped based on the type of gravity on this planet, right? The shape of the grass, the color of the grass, the color of the sky, why everything is the way that it is, all of those rules, those are what really kind of like tie everything together, and that's how you start to world build. Like if you look at like Nausicaa, for example, or any of the Ghibli works, those are very heavy on world building, heavy on world building. And whenever you make up a place, everything has to make sense together, right? I love watching movies where the world building happens in front of you, and you're just kind of the recent Arcane. There are so many things in there I've never seen before, and I'm like, this is so interesting. Dune, another great one. It's like seeing how these certain elements are designed, like how a culture is created from nothing to match the world that it lives in. That's world building. It's not even about the environment necessarily. It's about how everything exists together and how they kind of like, it's like not only is the environment and the air of the environment singing together, it's like this orchestra of the colors and the shapes and the way that the culture and the films and everything just kind of comes together. Karen Stanley did a talk on this as well. Polygon's just got all these links, dude. If you link them all, man, I'll post them. But world creation is pretty heavy. But think about anywhere that needs to be uh, anything that needs to be created by creatives that has a cohesive tone to it, is that's important. That's how that cohesiveness, like Mega saying in chat. So world building, world of level designs, pre-production, blueprints help me a lot, says Commander. It goes step by step and asks the right questions that can flesh out the world. But yes, okay, we need to jump into the next one, the next and final one, actually, with Ben, and Ben will actually be in a call with us. So let's see if we can get that going. But Eisen, hey, thanks, man. It's been good. Hopefully that was a lot of information. Hopefully that you can get something out of that.